Welcome, everyone, to One Stage at a Time, the podcast where we play through video games one stage at a time, one level at a time, not skipping over anything, no warp pipes, no magic flutes, no nothing. We're going to play through it. This time we're playing Super Mario Brothers for the not the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the regular Nintendo Entertainment System.
The regular Nintendo.
Yeah, Super Mario Brothers for the NES. This episode, World 2-4. I am Aaron Neeson.
I'm Andy Prim.
And we are joined by our special guest, Mike Votaw.
Hello, I'm still here. They have not let me go.
We couldn't get rid of him. He insisted on coming back.
But the key is hidden in a safe place.
He almost destroyed all of our podcasting equipment between episodes.
Oh my goodness. What an exciting event that was.
You didn't even know, listeners. But in spite of all that, we're back.
We're back. We're back to talk about the second castle stage.
That's right. The ultimate stage of World 2.
My death tally was 2 deaths.
Yeah.
Andy, where'd you wind up?
I think 2 as well. Yeah.
Mike.
Who's to really say? It was maybe 7-ish.
Give or take.
Give or take.
0.
Yeah.
But that really depends on if you buy into Western arithmetic, quote unquote.
Right. I mean, or the ideas of, life and reincarnation and all those
objective
things.
reality.
Does math
Objective
govern
reality,
the universe, or
Right.
is it just a thing that we made up?
Yeah.
In one manner of speaking, yes, Mike died 7 times at this level. In another manner of speaking, nothing besides my own consciousness exists.
I think, therefore, I am. That's the only
right.
thing that we know. Is that the only thing Mario knows?
Oh, that's very unclear. Who knows what lurks in the mind of a plumber?
If Mario has 8 lives left and he gets to the princess and he lives the rest of that life and then he dies, will he wind up back on World 3-2 or whatever the last one he died on was?
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah,
I think that,
existential torment that is Mario.
Yeah, it's like a really horrifying version of Groundhog Day. I think that he's
caught in an endless loop.
Living. Yeah,
it's I feel like I've seen a Flash animation on this subject.
I
saw a comic. I definitely read a comic where he did that.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah,
and I think it was a College Humor video or Dorkly or something where it was Sonic who or maybe it was Tails who couldn't die, so he outlived everybody and tried to kill himself. It wouldn't work. But yeah, it's a funny mechanic to actually try and think about the whole lives situation.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's kind of a crucial part of video games, the whole lives mechanic. It was around before Mario, and by God, it'll be around after Mario.
I mean, but games are moving away from that.
That's true, yeah.
They have been for a long time.
Yeah. Mario Odyssey doesn't have lives, actually. Right. There's still some games that have lives, I think. But,
there are. But they're few and far in between these days. Usually you have checkpoints, and if you die, you go back to that checkpoint, and you don't have a set number of lives.
Right, and it's pretty rare to, lose significant progress to a death. Games that do use that, like Dark Souls, for example, they're kind of notable, and people talk about them because they, punish you for dying.
Yeah.
But even those games, it's people get upset at it because it's not what they expect the game to be. They expect it to be like a hack and slash sort of thing when it's really you just have it's a much more dodging sort of game. You have to dodge and strike, dodge and strike and shield.
You slowly lure it, you kite enemies by shooting them with a bow and fight them one at a time.
Welcome to the Dark Souls podcast.
You spend hours and hours on the same stage.
Which is not what people expect these days. But it makes people think that it's harder than it actually is when it's really you just need to be much more strategic.
Don't get me wrong, I love Dark Souls, but I also love Super Mario Brothers, and I think that stage 2-4 is, I don't know, I think it's a pretty good stage. But what do you think, Mike?
I was surprised at how short it was, I guess, for I keep expecting the castle stages to be like, boss levels, but that doesn't really seem to, at least at this point, really exist yet.
I mean, they kind of are boss levels.
Yeah,
like that's.
But it's just sort of like a. What am I trying to say? It's like the previous 3 levels are your homework, and then this is the test where it's like you have to just be better at being able to land all of the jumps you have to make and everything. But at the end, like you still just have to like jump over Bowser and hit the little axe, and and then
we've seen it before.
Yeah, right. Like I keep expecting it to be.
You're expecting a fight,
right? No, that's exactly it. I'm expecting like a Super Mario World sort of boss battle or something.
A health bar to appear,
right?
Something, yeah.
Special music or something, yeah. It's worth noting that in the Super Mario All-Stars version of this game, Bowser does have boss music, actually.
Yeah.
You wouldn't really hear much of it because the fight's over so quickly, but yeah, it does play a separate track when you encounter Bowser.
I don't know that.
You're a Sonic kid.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
Get to Robotnik.
Yeah,
you have a fight.
You gotta hit him
8 times.
Yep.
Until you get to the last level, then it's like 16 times. But every level you hit Robotnik 8 times, and then he's defeated.
Yep.
And he bursts into a cloud of tiny little rabbits and stuff.
It's so satisfying.
No, it's not.
Well,
is that
the capsule
not?
does.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I haven't played this game in so long. Yeah, you're right. It's the capsule.
Like every other day. I was like, no.
I knew that there. I knew that there.
And he flies away in his little pod.
You're right. Yeah, I knew there were tiny animals involved somewhere. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there are not really any firsts per se in this stage. It really is just the second castle. We've seen this before. We've seen lava. We've seen fireballs. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we've seen the fireballs that bounce out of the lava. Were those in World in the castle?
I don't recall.
That might be a first.
I want to say that they were, but I can't recall.
Yeah, I think right at the very beginning, I think there's one, but that might not be right. I don't know.
Well, speaking of the fireballs, they have a technical name. Their name, this isn't even lore corner, because how would you know this? But their name is Podoboo.
Podoboo?
Podoboo. And according to the manual, they are the protector of the great sorcerer Koopa King. These are male apparently, he comes flying out of the lake of fire inside the Koopa King's castle. So that is the Podoboo.
It struck me
that's interesting.
Well, I'm sure that they have a set pattern that they follow. It wasn't easily discernible to me right away.
Yeah.
It flew up once and then it went down and it hung out there for a while and then it flew up again, went down, and then it flew up again almost immediately. I noticed. As we were playing, we quickly moved past it, so I wasn't able to analyze it further beyond that. But it struck me that it wasn't like just up, down, up, down, up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Down. I didn't notice that.
They seem to come out at a somewhat like random interval, or it's like longer than you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you might be waiting and thinking, oh, it's not going to pop out again, and then you try to jump, and that's the moment when it shoots out and gets you.
It comes up and gets you.
That's how you got. So I guess this is the first Podoboo, and Bowser's a little bit different. There are some bricks above the Bowser bridge in this stage.
Some obstacles, making it harder to jump over him.
That's right. And I say Bowser. It's not Bowser, of course. It's actually a Koopa in disguise.
It's not a Goomba this time.
No.
Last time it was a Goomba. This time it's a Koopa.
They've changed it up on us.
Yeah. It didn't change him, though.
No, attacks are pretty much the same. He just jumps and shoots fireballs intermittently.
Okay, so we didn't talk about this before, but is in World 1-4 when he shoots fireballs, do they ever change direction?
I think they do. I think they can go at like different heights. Like
sure, they go different heights based on where he jumps. But in this one, I noticed that he would jump, shoot a fireball, and it would swoop down.
Oh yeah,
right. They were like aiming at you almost.
Right.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
It got you.
Yeah, it did several times. Yeah,
it got me too. I'm not sure. I would bet that it does, but I don't know for sure.
I don't know for sure either. But it struck. I saw it and I was like, ooh, tricky.
Well, since Bowser is the wicked and domineering king of the Koopa, kind of a large and imperious presence, I thought this would be a good time to discuss the man himself, the third president of Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Hiroshi Yamauchi.
Not King Koopa.
I was going to say, not the newest.
Yeah,
The
okay.
newest one.
Not the newest one. That would be Shuntaro Furukawa.
No. Of America.
Oh, of America. Doug Bowser.
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Wow.
That's where I thought you were going with this.
I
The
should have seen that coming.
Destiny,
new president
man.
of
Wow.
Nintendo of America is Bowser.
I mean,
right, yeah.
you don't think that they hired him just because of the last name?
I'm
right?
sure it didn't hurt.
Yeah, right. It's like, listen, we can promote this guy Bowser, or we can promote Doug. Here at Nintendo, who are we going to promote?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be great if we promoted Bowser.
You got to put Bowser in charge.
I think we should too.
Yeah, come on. Who are you kidding?
I kind of want to change my last name to Bowser. Like, I feel like it would serve me in my professional career.
It
Probably
could
get
only
ahead.
help. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, Hiroshi Yamauchi, third president of Nintendo, succeeded his grandfather, Sekiryo Yamauchi. Hiroshi's father was kind of a deadbeat. So Sekiryo
Talent skips a generation.
right, kind of, yeah. I
But
mean,
he married into that generation.
That's
He married
right.
In, though.
yeah. So of course, to jump back a little bit, the first president of Nintendo, Fusajiro Yamauchi, establishes it as a Hanafuda card company.
And his daughter,
Tei,
who was probably incredibly talented and intelligent. And just was not able because of the culture to take over the company.
That's probably true. And I mean, there were times where she basically ran the company, especially later in life when Sekiryo was like in poor health.
Sure, of course.
But the two of them had no sons
we
as
love
well.
you. You're awesome.
Tei Yamauchi, salute. Shout outs to a real one. They had a daughter named Kimi, their eldest daughter. She married this guy named Shikanojo. Shikanojo also adopts the Yamauchi name after marrying into it. This guy, kind of a deadbeat. He and Kimi have a son, Hiroshi, and then Shikanojo just up and leaves. Just kind of abandons the family. So after this,
cool, man.
No, very not cool. Shikanojo, come on, man, what were you doing? Kimi goes to live with her sister. In Japanese culture, this was extremely disgraceful. Hard for her to show her face. Hiroshi goes to live with his grandparents, his mother's parents, Sekiryo and Tei. And they're pretty, I guess you would say, like undemonstrative people. They really expect a lot of young Hiroshi. He kind of resents his father leaving, and he's not super close to his mom.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Kind of a tough childhood for this kid.
Yeah, this is very, not gonna lie, it's not a happy tale.
No, this is kind of a bummer.
Thus far, it is a very much so a bummer. As a dad of a daughter myself, it's all it's not pleasant.
It's it's one of those stories we don't like to hear, but it's also a tale as old as time. So Hiroshi's growing up in this household. They have a large and stately manor. It's a very ancient house that they live in. But, like I said, Hiroshi is not getting like warmth and compassion from his grandparents. They don't have a great relationship anyway. Sekiryo, routinely cheats on Tei, and she just kind of stoically tolerates it. And they just expect a lot from young Hiroshi. He kind of becomes resentful and rebellious, and seems like kind of a strained relationship. I'm getting a lot of this history from Game Over by David Sheff. Mr. Sheff, I don't know. He's kind of hard on Hiroshi, I think, based on like what this kid was going through, but it's not a flattering portrayal, shall we say?
Can I ask in what way?
Well, okay, so let me give you a quote from this book. Arrogant and impudent, Hiroshi disregarded his grandparents as he grew into a balefully handsome and debonair gentleman who carried his small body with conceited sturdiness, his head jutting forward. He wore his thick hair back, and his eyebrows swept downward around his dark eyes.
Eyebrows
What
swept
a weird
downward.
description.
Yeah,
right?
He's like crapping on this guy for being short. I mean, and combing his eyebrows weird. Well, I mean, that's kind of weird. Combing your eyebrows down. I don't know.
He continues, he was sullen and bitter, yet he disguised his moods with levity and a dust-dry wit. His temperament was the legacy of an absent father and his grandparents' scorn.
That sounds like an unfair characterization. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, I don't know any of these people. I don't know the author. I don't know the subject. I don't know any. But oh my god, it's just this guy sucked.
Yeah.
His eyebrows were weird, and he didn't respect his grandparents.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
dude.
Well, and it's an interesting portrayal. David Sheff is certainly editorializing, and I think he has a an interesting voice. But I think that it seems like Nintendo gave him a lot of access. He talked to a lot of folks for this book. He got a lot of insider knowledge about this Yamauchi family, and I think that probably they felt burned when the book came out. And Hiroshi Yamauchi didn't give a lot of interviews after this, especially not to Western journalists.
I wouldn't either.
But nevertheless, it's an interesting portrayal, and
sure.
And this book gives us a lot about the family, like more so than pretty much any other source. If we continue a little further, we see that as Hiroshi gets older, he's being groomed to kind of take over the company. He never meets his father, Shikanojo. Shikanojo returns at one point kind of sick and poor and just wants to meet his son and, be reunited. But Hiroshi refuses to see him. And then,
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Who can? He's still resentful. A short time later, Shikanojo died, and his family kind of begged him, his dad's family, begged him to attend the funeral. And so he did, and met this whole family he never knew about, his dad's second wife, aunts he never knew about, and, basically just like breaks down, like just cries uncontrollably, and would regularly visit his father's grave throughout his life.
I'm not one to judge any sort of emotional reaction to family and to death and into all that. I don't know their family. I don't know their lives. I don't know the man. I don't know his father. His father might have been a great man to his new wife and family, but he clearly was not a good father to his first wife and family, and that's really awful.
Yeah, it's
really awful. So I don't have any sympathy for him that he, as a man who tried to reconnect with us. Okay, that's not true. I sympathize with somebody who's trying to reconnect with his child, but I don't really have any sympathy in regards to the fact that his child said no. I'm not interested in that.
Absolutely.
I don't want that because that's the child's prerogative.
Right.
That's absolutely 100% the child's prerogative, and I don't blame Hiroshi for saying no, thank you.
For sure.
I also understand,
but at the same time, you can understand his grief after his father's death.
I was about to say,
having missed the opportunity to meet his father, who he would never meet in his life. You can understand the grief he had.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I understand the grief, but at the same time, like, I hope that he didn't feel any guilt for the way he reacted.
I'm sure he probably did.
I know he probably did.
Yeah.
He certainly had regrets.
He probably did, but I hope that I hope that he didn't, because that's a perfectly reasonable response.
Yeah. For
sure.
It's just,
to say no.
Family's
you
complicated like
left
that.
Me, you weren't there for me in my formidable years, and
especially
when I needed you most.
He was like 18 or 20 when this happened, so you can understand how a young man especially would react in that way. Maybe if he was older, he might have done things differently, but it was what it was.
It was what it was, and I hope he doesn't. I hope he's probably not here around.
No, he's
but I hope that he did not
deceased.
I hope he did not carry that weight through his life, because that's not. He acted as one would expect, as would be perfectly reasonable, and it's just a sad situation all around.
Yeah, but it's a tough situation for sure.
None of it was his fault.
That's true. He kind of was a victim in all of this, but nevertheless, he felt a lot of regrets, and it would kind of stay with him, I think, for most of his life.
Sure.
After this, World War II happened. He was saved from fighting in World War II by being in school. The company during World War II was mostly run by his grandmother, Tay. After the war, Sekiryo got very sick, brought Hiroshi in on his deathbed, and basically asked Hiroshi to take over the company. He had like a bad stroke. Sekiryo, had had a bad stroke. And Hiroshi said that, yes, he would take over the company, but he had some conditions. One condition was that he would have absolute authority and that any other member of the family could not be an employee at the company, which meant some of his relatives, even his own cousin, had to be fired before he could take over. He wanted there to be no questions about succession, ever.
That's crazy.
So Seikiryo agreed. He had no choice.
Well, he had a choice. But he chose.
Yeah.
I mean, his choice was either see his family's company destroyed or leave it to Hiroshi, who he really had not much faith in at this point and a pretty strained relationship with, by all accounts. But he did it. And the cousin was fired. Seikiryo passed away soon after. And Hiroshi became president of Nintendo. After that, he systematically fired all of the old guard, all the old managers who had worked for his grandfather, and began slowly remaking the company into what it would eventually become. The iron rule of Hiroshi Yamauchi had begun.
I can't wait to hear what he does.
Oh, we'll get into it. He had a long and storied career. We're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, I mean, it all you dig into family history, and
I've said it before, and I'll say it again.
No family is devoid of drama.
Oh, that's true for sure.
And tragedy and things of that nature.
And I mean, you have to look at all that to understand who he was and to really understand the impact that Mr. Yamauchi had both on Nintendo and on video games as an art form.
Yeah, and it teaches us how we wound up with Yoshi's Woolly World.
Well, I mean,
I'm sure he was directly involved with that. Oh, really?
It was his vision.
But we'll leave more discussions of Mr. Yamauchi and Nintendo for a later date.
Mike.
Yep.
If you had a company that made playing cards and your daughter married an unworthy successor, but it was expected of you to give your company to this man, would you?
Ooh, man, that's tough.
And remember, you're in 1940s Japan.
Right.
In this scenario.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the answer is yes in that situation, just given what little I know about Japan and the 1940s and, male, issues with, inheritance and sort of looking for.
Like honor and obligation.
Yeah, just all of that stuff. I mean, I think the answer would probably have to be yes.
Yeah, you just had to. You didn't have a choice.
Yeah. But, that's all such it's, I don't know, like I almost don't want to know all of this stuff that you're telling me, I just want to imagine that Nintendo is just like this, Disney World sort of situation.
Oh, let's not get into Disney.
I mean, I know that's a whole,
Oh boy, Walt
that's
Walt
a
had
whole
some
thing.
interesting opinions.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's kind of like pulling back the curtain.
Yeah, it really is.
They're good at cultivating that family friendly image, but there's really all this really complicated and troubling backstory.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't feel that really needs to detract from what they're doing.
No, every family has this sort of stuff.
Yeah,
every family, not just especially not just the rich and the famous and the
right. They're just the only ones that get written about.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like I don't really want to know too much about my ancestors.
Right.
Because what's going to stick out is the awful people.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
Of course.
Because those stories are more interesting.
Exactly. Here's John. He was a good man, and he came home and he read stories to his kids before bed, and they went to sleep, and then he went to work the next day, and he provided for them until he had a peaceful retirement.
Right.
Boring.
Yeah. No one wants to hear that story.
Here's Daryl. He had 3 kids with 4 different women, and then he went skydiving every other weekend until one day his parachute didn't open. He splatted into a cow, but the cow died. He survived. 2 wooden legs, and then another 3 kids later. It's just you only hear about the bad stuff's going to stick out much more than the good stuff, and so every family's got their skeletons, and us anonymous people will get to keep them buried, but the Nintendo family,
oh, it's out there.
It's out there. People are going to dig it up. This guy's going to dig it up and call you short and ugly.
Yeah, and we've got definitely a lot more to say about the Yamauchi family and the inner workings of Nintendo Co. Limited, but we'll save that for other episodes.
But real quick, before we go, Mike pointed out something interesting about this level. That actually it's appeared in another level.
Yeah.
In underground levels past, but the platforms that went up and down, he noted bared a striking similarity to the Donkey Kong girders and levels that went up and down. We said we were going to talk about this, and then we said we were going to forget about this, and we
remembered that.
Almost did. Yeah, I almost was like, maybe we should write it down. But like, no, I totally remember it. I totally didn't. Yeah,
it was a great observation, and we should look it up real quick.
I mean, I feel like it certainly can't be a coincidence, I mean, because this game, I don't know the exact like chronology of like when.
Oh, it's a
Donkey Kong and came out, and Donkey Kong, and then the Mario Brothers arcade game, and then this. I don't know like how much time was really in between them all, but it seems that this game is really just like a.
It's almost like there's no way that this was not lifted directly from Donkey Kong.
Right.
This certainly came after Donkey Kong.
It's borrowing.
Totally.
They're building on ideas from previous games in a lot of the stuff, I feel like.
Yeah, and these elevator platforms definitely have a girder shape to them. They've got like holes in the middle. They look like a steel beam. It's different from like the bridge tile set. This is a unique tile. And I think it's fair to say these are like definitely inspired by Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think, like I guess the original Donkey Kong probably doesn't have anything like that. I feel like maybe like Donkey Kong 2 or 3.
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't?
Yeah, number 1 does. Like the Pie Factory level has elevators that go up and down.
Okay.
Or is that the one I'm thinking of? Maybe not the Pie Factory level.
I didn't know there was a Pie Factory level.
The Pie Factory level got removed from certain versions of it, so it's a less well-known
There's Donkey Kong, the arcade game, which has like 4 levels.
Yeah.
And then there's Donkey Kong, there's subsequent Donkey Kong games. Yeah. There's Donkey Kong Jr., where you play as Donkey Kong Jr. against Mario, who's the villain.
He's the villain.
And then there's Donkey Kong released for like Game Boy.
Right.
Which has dozens of levels. And it was a great game. I
played the crap out of that. Yeah.
So good.
Oh, it's a wonderful game.
Yeah.
It was the genesis for Mario vs. Donkey Kong, that whole series.
Which I have never played, but
they're pretty good. Yeah, they're solid.
What was that on? I'm not familiar with that. Like, what system was that
Game
on?
Boy Advance and then Nintendo DS later on.
Oh,
and 3DS as well. So they keep with the handheld tradition.
Yeah.
But yeah, Donkey Kong Game Boy, or Donkey Kong 98, as it's called sometimes, is a fantastic game.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the moving platforms up and down, I feel like they were there before Super Mario Brothers for NES.
Yeah, they're definitely in Donkey Kong.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely elevators.
Yeah, so it was almost certainly lifted from there, just stolen directly, just like Jumpman.
It's just good old Nintendo stealing from themselves.
Yeah.
Well, gents, do you have anything else to add about World 2-4 before we wrap up this world?
So this is, I guess, isn't specifically about this level, but I think one thing we haven't really talked about too much is I realized how I was thinking about just how much the look of this game differs from subsequent Mario games, and because I'm actually really used to playing the like Super Mario All-Stars version for Super Nintendo, and they sort of like
me too actually.
They it has its own look to it. It looks a lot more like the Super Mario World with the
there's
kind of bubbly, colorful backgrounds. Mario is not just like brown on red like he is in this game.
Yeah, he's almost fully realized.
And like things that like are seemingly so iconic now, like the red mushroom with the white spots and everything, like that's not even in this game. It's it's
like beige and red,
right? And it's got a much more mushroomy, like an actual mushroom shape to it than more iconic thing does. But I don't know where I'm actually going with this. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting how quickly they like got rid of the look of this game and like went in a different direction and it never returned to it.
Yeah, they quickly made it, a much more advanced art style and much more detailed look. But at the same time, they made less drastic changes than I think. Like, let's go back to Sonic. Sonic changed a lot from the Sega Genesis look and the Sonic CD and look to the Dreamcast look.
They gave him green eyes.
And they made his
I never noticed that.
His head spines and his hands and feet super big.
Yeah, that's right.
And his legs and arms much lankier.
Got the skinny arms.
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah.
It's not right, folks.
It's weird.
It's really not.
I'll go on record saying
those games never should have went 3D. Hot take. That ruined the Sonic franchise, in my opinion. But
I don't disagree because Sonic. We're not in the Sonic podcast.
Yeah.
But real quick. Sonic really did not do well in the 3D realm.
Yeah. I remember being really disappointed with the Sonic game for the Dreamcast. Like, what? I'm walking around a street picking up I don't even remember. I never even got close to finishing it because I was.
Then we're like, Mario Odyssey's in the city. This is amazing.
Right? Yeah.
The best thing ever.
Mario definitely made the jump to 3D in a more elegant fashion.
Yeah,
he really
definitely.
did, and his gameplay style was much more conducive to that. Because Sonic, Sonic has always been about speed, but at the same time, you have to earn the speed in the 2D versions, which
that's
the
true.
3D versions never really understood.
Especially nowadays, where you just boost.
Yeah,
you just get to top speed instantly.
Yeah, and that's hard. Even getting up to speed would be a hard sort of scenario to do in a 3D world.
Right.
So it was harder for Sonic. It's not his fault. It was just a harder thing for Sonic to do.
Well, yeah. I mean
but here we are.
Yeah. I don't know.
The point I was making was that the Mario. We're talking about Mario.
Mario.
Time it's Mario podcast. Mario's look it's changed, but it hasn't changed drastically. He's always worn the overalls. He's always had the mustache and the hat and stuff.
Yeah,
and I look at this 2D Mario right here. He's literally on a TV screen right in front of us right now, and I don't see anything much different from Mario and Mario Odyssey. Not really.
The basics are the same. It's amazingly consistent through the years. They've definitely refined it, and Mike was saying, they added more backgrounds and stuff for the remake. But I mean the core elements have remained remarkably consistent.
Yeah, I look at this and I imagine that it was transformed into a 3D world, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a tree that he could throw his ghost hat on from Mario Odyssey. He could throw his ghost hat on that right there. He could jump off of that wall. It's not a stretch at all to imagine that. It's very it's very, even in this 2D, very simple design. It's very familiar to what's going on right now, and that's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
We love it.
We do. There's a reason Mario persists.
And that's kind of the point of this podcast, is to dig into why Mario persists. And I think we've gotten into it so far.
At the moment, it's about Mario.
I see what you're saying. It could be about other games.
Yeah, later on we're going to play other games, because this podcast is going to go on forever. Later on, we're going to play other games.
Right.
Right now, we're talking about Mario.
Right. But the point of a stage by stage examination is to see why this game is a classic.
Yes.
Why it holds up so well. What's kind of magical about it, and I think we're starting to get into that. But
Indeed.
We've got We're done with World 2. We've got 6 worlds to go. And this long and strange journey will continue with World 3.
Yes.
Mike, we hope to have you back on the pod sometime. Thanks for joining us for World 2.
Yes, appreciate you being here.
And I think with that, we'll go ahead and sign off and say sayonara for World 2.
Find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and all of your favorite social medias.
That's right.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, folks. We love you all.
We love you.
Aww.
We love you. Mamma mia, we love you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.